the wide receiver that you guys think will make the biggest impact in their new spot? He's looking at you, kid.
Of course. Well, listen, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. So I shared this story a few times on the show. Before Josh Gordon got reinstated, I caught him in L.A. at the Nice Guy restaurant, and I dapped him up. He was working out.
I love this story.
And I gave him that bro hug. You know, and I got real close. How you doing, bro? How you feeling? And just naturally, you feel a guy's pecs, you feel his arms, you feel his back. And I thought to myself, this dude is built like Iron Man. If they allow this man back in the league, he's going to be a monster. And they did. They allowed him in later in the season. Now, he had some games, but the thing about Josh Gordon, as fantastic as he is, as great of a talent as he is, he needs help. And the help that he got is Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Now, I described Josh Gordon as Iron Man. And Jarvis, of course, is the butler with Jarvis, right?
Yes,
so
Paul Bettany.
If you're familiar with Marvel, Jarvis is the butler, and he does everything. Everything around the house, and it's the outside, the inside. Same thing with Jarvis. Outside routes, inside routes. He can go deep routes, short routes, screen passes. He can even block out of the backfield for running backs. Now, in all the Marvel films, Jarvis actually stands for just another rather very intelligent system. I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry being just another rather very incredible slot. So him being that fit to Iron Man, who I feel like is one of the most dominant forces. Remember, I've seen Randy Moss. I've seen Calvin Johnson. Josh Gordon has that in him, but he needs help. And finally, he has that help. So I'm looking for Jarvis Landry to be that exact thing that Josh Gordon needs, that duo, that Robin to his Batman, for that incredible combination that we're going to see Cleveland with the Browns.
People tell me all the time when they give me a bro hug, it's the same thing.
Really?
They can't
So
wait
built
for me
like
to
Iron Man?
get that. Can't wait for me to get back on the field.
We got to get Jarvis in here so you can hug him. I'm serious. Like, you got it, because I know exactly what you mean. I do it to you every day. You know, like, this guy means business. I get it.
Jarvis or Josh?
Well, we got to get Jarvis, so they can have hug both of them.
True. Compare and contrast. Was there a bigger glaring need at any position going into free agency than wide receiver in Baltimore?
It was pretty big.
No. Do you remember when Sammy Watkins got signed and I was like, hey, Ravens, do you want to, get on that? Or, I don't know, Allen Robinson went to Chicago, and I'm like, what's going on, Ravens? Well, they got their guy. And I think nobody's talking about it because it's Michael Crabtree, the guy who has 25 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons, that is more than Rob Gronkowski, that he's Mr. Toe Drag Swag. Why aren't we talking about the fact that Michael Crabtree is inheriting such an opportunity with Joe Flacco, who I think we can all agree at this table has a little something to prove this year, and he needs a receiver. They had no receiver on their roster after getting rid of Mike Wallace that had 500 receiving yards last year. Joe Flacco has an arm. He wants to get something done. They add Michael Crabtree. Is it because he's older?
Maybe.
Really? He's younger than Jordy Nelson, and we keep talking about him going to the Raiders. He's younger than Danny Amendola, who we think is going to be Jarvis Landry-esque down in Miami. He's younger than both of those guys. He's still got a lot to give. He's just a low-key player. I can't really understand why a guy who had more touchdowns the last 3 seasons than Larry Fitzgerald, than A.J. Green, isn't getting enough love. So there we have it. Michael Crabtree, I think, will make an immediate impact because it was such a glaring need on this offense.
So good down by the end zone, too. I feel like every week during the season, Michael Crabtree's making another crazy catch in the end zone, in the red zone, too.
Do you think it might also be that he's not being talked about because he had a down year last year? Because then why aren't we talking about Derek Carr's down year last year? Aren't the two one and the same?
Yes.
And it wasn't
I feel like that
down.
entire offense, that everything offensively took a step back. So it's not necessarily Crabtree's fault. Maybe a change of scenery will help him.
He immediately becomes their number one, too.
It wasn't that down of a year compared to to Cooper, who was their number one guy. And I think there's a misconception when a guy moves teams multiple times, people kind of write them off like, he's getting older, that's why he's moving around. Sometimes it's also up to the guy.
Maybe he was too young for Gruden.
He was too young for Gruden. And look, Anquan Bolden and Steve Smith both had great careers with the Ravens on the back 9 of their careers.
Good call.
I'm going to Gruden, though. And you talk about who's the guy who's going to make the most immediate impact. I'm going to go with the guy who's already making an impact, Jordy Nelson in Oakland. I wasn't sure about that signing. 33-year-old Jordy Nelson, what are we getting here? And then I talked to people in Oakland, and they're saying, this dude is unbelievable. Forget just the fact that he might be the best route runner in the entire NFL right now. The fact that he walked in and is basically running the wide receivers room before OTAs even start. That they think that Amari Cooper could be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, not because of Cooper's own skill set, but because Jordy Nelson is basically a quarterback in the wide receivers room saying, here's how it's done. Let me show you, and I'm going to show you how you could do this to your best perfection. Edgar Bennett is the wide receivers coach. He spent 13 years coaching in Green Bay with Jordy Nelson. There is this strange feeling of, oh my God, we have Jordy Nelson. We didn't realize what we're bringing in. Yeah, great player, but he makes the entire room better. And the last guy that needs to be improved the most and kind of be mentor is Derek Carr. Who better to come in and say, hey, look, I worked with Aaron Rodgers for all those years. Here's what the wisdom that I can give you. Jordy Nelson is not a spring chicken, and he's being paid #1 money, and they are paying him. The impact he will make is far greater than what he makes on the field. He'll be in the wide receivers room, but also in the organization, bringing class, bringing championships, and bringing the talent that can make that Raiders team better than they were last year.
How does he help Amari Cooper?
Well, he's going to help him with his route running, the ability to be consistent. And on top of that, look at the receivers that they have on the roster. They brought in Martavis Bryant. I mean, all these different individuals all of a sudden get to look at Jordy and say, teach me some of your ways, because he's been here for a long time doing it at a high level.
You just convinced I'm in on it.
In on Jordy.
Totally in on Jordy.
And I remember Rodgers when he left says, I can't really put into words what 87 has meant to this team. I'm going to try to put into words what I hope Allen Robinson means to the Chicago Bears. And in fact, I'm going to do it in terms of our new environment. I went for a walk yesterday around NFL Experience here in Times Square. I'm trying to get to know it, you know. I could not find anywhere in this castle, in this museum, any picture of a Chicago Bears wide receiver in history. Any team you can find, Jets receivers, Ravens receivers, you cannot find a Bears receiver because the Bears, as incredible as a franchise that they've been, they don't have an iconic wide receiver. They've had some very good ones, but they got a million linebackers, a million tight ends. Walter Payton, probably the most beloved player in any position ever. They don't have the wide receiver. So I look, there's this big wall of all the current stars on the team. Show the picture of who the Bears star is. This is Odell, Antonio Brown. It's Kyle Long. Yeah. All right, now Kyle Long, I love and I respect. He's an offensive guard. You understand what I'm going with this? Like, we need a little bit of pizzazz. Now, then I go over to there's a 32s, the Bears' little cubby hole, their locker. Look at the playmaker they have. Automatic Jack Manders, who played at Wrigley Field in the 30s. He was an
fantasy superstar.
He was a kicker. He played in a Super Bowl that he won 73-0. Do you see what I'm saying here, Allen Robinson? I look at this as a great opportunity to be the face of the Chicago Bears wide receiver position. We can get in the X and O's and Nagy and Trubisky, and that's all great. There's something symbolic here, that if you were to go position to position in the Bears' history, almost every single one, they have a legend. I don't believe they have a legendary wide receiver in all the decades that they've played. I love Willie Gault. I love Curtis Conway, Marty Booker. Those guys are all great. I'm talking about an icon. Allen Robinson, they are thirsty for it. They're ready for it. And we need your picture here in NFL Experience in Times Square, because all we got is automatic Jack Manders and Kyle Long, and we need a little firepower. Allen Robinson, bring it.